Thank you, everyone who came and who's watching this later for attending our fireside chat on cross-chain, multi-chain, central exchange, decentralized exchange, and bridges. I know this is a pretty huge, pretty wide topic, but the good news is it can all be condensed really, really easily. But it's rather important to understand, especially when we're talking about, MDB going cross-chain or even some places do chain migration or how we have Foxify on Arboretum rather than on BSC. As much as I would love to have everything on the Binance Smart Chain where it's nice and easy for us all to get to, it makes a lot of sense to have these different chains, these different opportunities, these different gases or these different gas uses. Um, Hi there, Pavto Mouse. Were you trying to say something? All right, no worries. So to really get started, I just want to start with a bit about what a smart chain actually is. A lot of people like to think of it as a giant ledger or a giant spreadsheet, where each different transaction is added immutably to that spreadsheet, and you can go back and you can see this transaction here was XYZ to XYZ. You'll see things like smart contracts get executed through the Ethereum virtual machine. Most smart contracts you'll interact with are actually EVM or Ethereum virtual machine. You'll know because you can actually just use MetaMask with them. You can interact directly with the contract through a D app instead of, I think, oh, what is it? I think Algorand is really weird where you have to actually send your tokens out as an out transaction rather than interacting and having everything taken care of on the back end. So there are definitely ways to do the smart transactions without the EVM, but for the most part, you're going to be interacting with an EVM. Arboretum is one, BSC is one, obviously Ethereum is one. So they have a lot to offer, and they're definitely becoming the most common. But each chain has its own strengths and weaknesses, and we can get to a little bit more of that later. But one of the things that is important is that there is very little interoperability between chains. So if you have a smart contract that interacts with, the Binance Smart Chain, you're not going to be able to just stick some Ethereum into it unless it's Binance Ethereum, as our friends over at EMP like to use. So that is one of the, I guess, more difficult parts of it and where it can get confusing. One of the things I remember a long, long time ago, it used to be Coinbase did not have Polygon Matic for some weird, ironic reason. You could not get Matic out on Polygon. They only had Ethereum Matic. So people would try to send or withdraw Matic, and they would wonder where all their money went. That's because they were sending the same token to the same address, just on the wrong chain. And I think that sort of theme, that sort of confusion, that cost all those people money, or it even cost me $1 since I sent a test Matic just to see what's up. um, I could never I could never sell that Matic for more than the cost of gas to sell the Matic. Um, but yeah, it's definitely important to pay attention to what chain you're using, where things are actually going, and sort of how you can expect things to work. But it does also increase the value of security. Some chains are more secure than others. You have the different proof of work, proof of stake. I think Cadena is the last major smart chain with proof of work. I'm not sure if anyone can correct me on that one. Is it just KDA? But there are different layers to security. One of the benefits of Ethereum is how well it has security for its own layer, but also for subchains like Polygon or Arboretum. Let's see here. Um, so I also want to talk a little bit about the difference between cross-chain and multi-chain, because you have when we're talking about MDB specifically, what they were speaking of um, is going to be cross-chain, not switching chains. So we're going to have um, MDB is on Binance, you still have everything, but also you can buy MDB on Arboretum if they choose to do that. So that is an added value. It is not some sort of like end of MDB on BSC. It's not some sort of oh goodbye. If they do choose to do a cross-chain solution, and I'm not entirely sure that they're working on that right now. They're definitely doing their best to promote and increase the value of Foxify, working on that gas. So let me see here. Speaking of Foxify, the main reason that I wanted to start this was to go over sort of how to bridge, how to move things from one chain to another, especially to get money from Binance Smart Chain over to Foxify. It's definitely a huge focus within MDB to promote Foxify. And I think if people knew more about how to get money out onto Arboretum, it would be a lot easier to increase the user base, to increase the volume. Um, so to go into the most detail, I did post a video last week just about how to get money from BSC over to Foxify. But more deeply, any kind of smart chain bridge is going to help you get money from one chain to another. But it's not like they're just it's not like a tunnel or an actual bridge. They are taking your money on side A and giving you their money on side B when you're talking about a bridge. So there is no in one end out the other. It's actually in one end produced on the other. Arbitrum. Oh man, I've been saying it all wrong, haven't I? No worries. Well, probably a lot. Maybe I say it to someone else and they're like, "Excuse me, I've been looking for this arboretum chain. All I found is this arbitrum." But any kind of bridge is going to help you, and the one that TGF linked in the MC announcements and that I relinked in my video is definitely a working one to get things over. But it's not sending token from point A to point B, so it's not like you could just say pick up some Titano and send it over to be on Polygon and just have everything be okay that way. It has to actually be supported by the bridge. It has to be made to work in that way, um, by being created as a new token on a new chain and issued to you. So it can get a little confusing on the back end, but for the user themselves, it really does work like that. One of the bigger problems, though, I don't know how many of y'all used Ohm, but Ohm was actually multi-chain. One of the issues is there wasn't very much liquidity for Ohm or G-Ohm over on the Polygon side. Uh, you could have insane slippage with barely any G-Ohm if you tried to trade that directly after accidentally bridging it to Polygon, like someone who doesn't understand smart contracts at all. I did not at that time. But you do have to pay attention to the liquidity of tokens that you bridge over, which is why people tend to do layer ones, which make the most sense because if you can send, the gas token from one chain to another, then you don't have to worry about being trapped on the other side. But also something like, stable coins, like you're never going to have liquidity problems with USDC or USDT unless the crypto world really has ended. Maybe the US government decides to fully ban it instead of just mostly. Um, but you do have to worry about security and trust. There was recently a huge bridge hack, and I think a lot of you have heard of, the XYZ bridge has been hacked. That's because they do have to store on one side, issue on the other, and they do have to keep enough liquidity to do both of those things. So that's one of the reasons that I tend not to use bridges actually, when other than for that video. And the reason is because it's so easy to just send something to the centralized exchange, swap it for what you're looking for, and then send it back out. I know for sure I just moved Arboretum ETH from MEXC today. No KYC, no giving me any trouble. Sent in some BNB, sold the BNB, got some ETH, and there we go, off to the races. I see we've got someone typing here. I'm not actually recording my screen. I'm recording a Phoenix logo, so I can check through my notes without showing too much behind the curtain. Oh no, the sound's breaking up. Is anyone having that issue?
Sound fine to me.
All right. Okay, maybe I'll just talk a little bit louder. I think my boom mic might have been a little bit too far away. That could be it. So I'm sorry if I've been causing any trouble. So that's one of the reasons that I try to use centralized exchange, especially when going to something like Arboretum or Ethereum, where you know that there's trust when you know it's a larger chain. Um, you don't have to worry too much. You can send your money to the centralized exchange, get it all into the gas token, send it back out onto the chain. It also leaves a little bit less links to your wallet because you're not even showing yourself using the bridge. It's just a send transaction and then you receive in the other one. Hmm. So yeah, that's definitely my choice. Especially for things that do have a lot of exchange liquidity. Like you're never going to find an exchange that doesn't have any ETH transactions unless that exchange is uh, not doing that well that day. Probably FTX is not selling any ETH, but the rest of them will be. So the next thing I sort of want to go over um, is the wrap token. I know we touched on that a little bit earlier, but wrap tokens are absolutely excellent for when you are using bridges. You've seen them again, how we have Binance Smart Chain wrapped ETH as part of oh man, as part of some of the EMP rewards. If you're holding any of the SS NFTs, you'll see that you're receiving um, BSC wrapped ETH. Now, the cool thing about BSC wrapped ETH is that you can bridge that over to Ethereum, and then you have gas over there. So that was something that was really useful to me to be able to save myself, transaction upon transaction, trying to sell things and move things around, just to get enough Ethereum over to ETH to get rid of some of my NFTs, right? So it's definitely useful to have those wrap tokens, but we do need to be concerned about how much liquidity is going to be on each side. It's usually very safe to get a wrap token with an established bridge for an established chain and then send that back and forth. But something like wrapped Titano is probably not the best thing to send over. Let me see here. Hmm. So, another one of the interesting things about cross-chain is that when chains are developing, they tend to incentivize development on that chain, and by moving things across chain, by having a good bridge, they give themselves more opportunities to sort of to increase their usability. So as chains start to get closer together, as it starts to get easier to send one token or one project from chain X to chain Y, it will increase the competition of these chains by giving them the abilities to do things. I don't know how many of y'all remember um, issues with minting NFTs on ARB because there simply wasn't a good enough randomness generator. And as these chains come closer and closer together, that kind of thing won't be an issue at all. It'll just all be available, all the good stuff, which means that things like Foxify and MDB, which do have uses, are going to be in a lot better position as being some of the earlier players. Let's see here. In the future, I imagine that people are going to eventually find a solution to the chain problem, some way to sort of interact with them all seamlessly, maybe an inbuilt bridge. It would most likely be a rather expensive solution to handle all of those transactions, uh, especially if you're trying to trade something, from ETH over onto BSC or from Polygon over to ETH, where you have that one chain with those huge transaction fees. But it could be pretty easy to make it feel seamless to the user if you had enough liquidity for a bridge that was set up and integrated properly into the wallet. So that's sort of my view on the future of cross-chain technology. What does everyone else think might happen in the future of chains? How do you see yourself using multiple chains at once in a couple of years? All right, well, fair enough. All right. So the next thing to go into is going to be some of the. Oh, we've got beef waffle typing. Is an L1X. Um, so I stopped looking as much into L1X at the time that I first saw anything about it. What they were claiming they were capable of doing was rather impossible. Saying that they could, have actual interactions with the Ethereum chain with, pennies worth of gas. It just doesn't work like that because even if you were sending them, custody of those assets, then that would still cost way more than that in gas for them to duplicate it, for them to try and be a bridge onto their own chain. If they just, said, okay, we see that you have XYZ on Ethereum, here is your fake L1X version, it wouldn't have any value from their side because there's no custody, there's no backing. So I'm not I'll definitely have to check into it again, but just from the quick sort of overview I saw, that AMA that I saw, it looked like it was either purposefully deceptive or excessively optimistic. Welcome in, MRST. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. All right, and we've got Beef Waffle typing again. That's great. I'm finding more information on Binance Smart Chain versus ARB Chain. Oh no, ChatGPT doesn't know about ARB. I don't know enough about ARB Chain. Yeah, too good to be true. That's the thing, and you'll see a lot of projects and opportunities are really amazing. The biggest thing to worry about is if it's even possible. I when I was looking into Dyson, I was like, how does it how do they actually intend to get around all of these fees to do X, Y, Z and to, earn with this? And it's just to me the biggest thing is if you can't understand how it's supposed to work, how it's supposed to be done, um, where the math is, I guess, then it probably is a scam. Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love for there to be a true, cross-chain solution, nearly free gas, everything working great, that kind of roll up. But I just don't see it with this one. Um, so the next is to go into some of the top chains, a little bit about their strengths and weaknesses. The one I like to start with is sort of the granddaddy of them all, Ethereum. They are the OG. I was a bit sad when they stopped being proof of work and went to proof of stake because, for one, it hasn't actually made GPUs that much cheaper. If you want a brand new one, it's still going to be about 12 $15. But it also took away one of their biggest advantages over the network, which was the additional security. It is very hard to claim that proof of work is centralized because a 51% attack would be extraordinarily expensive. But nowadays, with the high cost to even get an Ethereum node, they tend to be very centralized items because it's not your regular people aren't hoarding, thousands of ETH. Um, so it is a little bit of a concern how much more centralized that it's become now that the average person can't contribute to the security of the Ethereum network. It seemed like everyone and their dog had their own, GPU running a tiny little mine. Even a couple people lottery mining with those USB sticks. Did anyone ever get one of those USB sticks? I imagine not, but if you did, I'll come back and look at the chat later. But with that proof of stake change, Ethereum has still remained secure, if not decentralized, and that security is definitely a form of value. The fact that they were pretty much the first, virtual machine platform is also a form of value. Even as expensive as it is to operate on the Ethereum chain, you still get to see a lot of you still see that projects tend to have a lot of liquidity, a lot of value because people know about it. People know to move assets onto it. For example, if you have Coinbase, most of the tokens that you're going to, have access to offboard, Athena don't. Um, Most of the tokens you're going to have access to offboard are going to be Ethereum tokens. It is the biggest, it is the best, it is a behemoth, and the fact that it costs $6 to $20 to make even the tiniest of transactions is not enough to put people entirely off of using it. If you look into NFT projects, you often see the biggest money is going to be on ETH. So it's definitely a chain worth looking into, worth valuing, especially for non-tax tokens, which can be traded safely on a centralized exchange, so they don't have to worry about actually, spending the ETH gas for a majority of their users. Oof. The next one, of course, with us being in MDB, I want to talk about the Binance Smart Chain. Binance Smart Chain is my favorite chain. I'm definitely biased. It has the cheap transaction fees. It has the quick, speedy transactions. It has a huge amount of small cap projects, at least compared to other chains, and it has a lot of liquidity due to how easy it is to onboard to the Binance Smart Chain for the 99% of the world, which is legally allowed to use Binance. So it is rather important to say, this is a huge behemoth of a chain. But it seems to me like the solution for Binance isn't always worth it for people. If you look into BSC, you find that those validators are pretty much Binance themselves. Like you don't want to piss off CZ too much, or maybe he'll rug you, right? I doubt it's that much of a FUD, but the biggest concern, in my opinion, is not so much that the validators would decide that they wanted to just mint out a whole bunch of BNB for funsies. It's that Binance itself is a bit of a risk that most countries really, really hate Binance. They say, "Oh wow, you're you're helping with money laundering, with terrorism, et cetera, et cetera. You're not doing enough to KYC. You accidentally let an American in, right?" Um, so it is important to consider Binance themselves as the biggest risk with the BSC chain. Um, but for me, I don't consider it as big of an issue because with Binance themselves, if Binance goes down, then what happens to the price of Bitcoin, right? Who else is propping up those markets? Where's the volume? Where's the liquidity? I don't consider BSC to be much more of a risk from Binance because I think that everything is at an extraordinary risk from Binance. I think that they, um, in a way, are a bit of the face of crypto because you see them, you have crypto.com and you have Coinbase in the US, but if you could use Binance, then why wouldn't you? So that definitely has strengths and weaknesses as a chain. If you would like a little bit less of that centralization risk, you can of course consider Polygon. Polygon is an exceptional idea, one of those L2s on the Ethereum chain. With Polygon, you have, oh man, I think the Polygon Foundation supports them a little bit, but the biggest thing I've seen on Polygon is that they don't tend to have as much liquidity as Ethereum or as the Binance Smart Chain. Uh, they don't they don't usually have as fast of transactions. Things tend to fail a little bit more over there. I've had times where I had to stick in a whole matic for gas just to get some sphere moved from one place to another. It can be a lot lower quality of a chain just from what I've seen, and I've heard other people with the same issues. So it's definitely a great thing that exists. Especially, I would love to see a lot more liquidity. I'd love to see a lot more NFTs moved over to Polygon to benefit from the multiple layers of proof of stake security, the lower gas fees, um, and the ability to, put an entire matic in of gas and make things go really quickly. So it definitely is a valuable, viable chain. Just not my favorite as far as I'd much rather BSC. And of course, we can't talk too much about things without talking about Solana. I don't know about y'all, but I've never actually used Solana for anything other than trading. Who here has used Solana? Hmm, okay. Cheap, smooth, and fast. One of the interesting things I just found out about Solana is that they have a proof of history consensus. Um, it's used in Solana. It provides a historical record of events in the network, and it helps nodes reach consensus on the order of events before they're added to the blockchain, which helps reduce some of the time needed to confirm transactions. So I've never heard of anything like that before. It sounds like they also have a pretty big focus on NFTs. Is that more so than on Smart Chain itself? Let's see, Solana NFTs. Solana.com is an NFT marketplace. Metaplex. So yeah, I've seen a lot about their NFTs. I've seen how their token can move a lot. Avalanche. Oh man. See, Avalanche would have been my favorite blockchain. I definitely love how easy it is as an American to get AVAX and to transfer AVAX around. It's sort of my go-to when I send money. Yep. It's my go-to for when I send money from one of the trading exchanges that lets me do futures back to Coinbase, so I can actually offboard it into actual cash or the reverse. AVAX is absolutely my go-to for that, and it is a fast chain. It has a robust ecosystem, not as much as BSC or anything like that, but it does have a robust ecosystem. It does have swaps. It does have a lot of options and viability within it. The only thing that I don't like about AVAX is that it dumps so much harder than everything else when the bear market started. It used to be $100 for an AVAX, and now what is it, like 10, 15? Like it's I don't want to say, I'm bearish on the chain because they have good technology. They have good things on it. They're doing things right. But the problem is AVAX isn't something I'd specifically want to really be holding. And if I was to own a project and put it on the Avalanche chain, I would never pair it with AVAX. It just seems like too much of a risk. And I would be worried about that. I do love how they make subnets available. I don't know about y'all, but I ended up in VPND back before I understood what happens when you invest in nodes. But I really do like the idea of having, the ability to just create subchains on a nice, cheap proof of stake network like AVAX. It would give the ability to do really quick transactions. It would be absolutely perfect for Foxify to have like an AVAX subnet, but they just, I think they're going to have a harder time finding people to invest just because of what happened with their price action. And of course, I could be wrong. This could be like the absolute best time ever to buy Avalanche. Stock up on AVAX, and next year it's $100 again. I would love for that to be the case, but I'm not seeing it anytime soon. What is everyone's favorite chain in here?
I like Pepe Chain.
Pepe chain? Oh man, I've is that real? I saw there was a meme coin Pepe, but I didn't know there was an actual chain with it yet. Yeah, BSC and AVEX. Yep, those are the most rational ones to be using. That's for sure. Um, yeah, so we've talked a little bit about Arbitrum. Um, with Arbitrum, I believe it's another L2, just like Polygon. I don't actually know too much more about it. Honestly, the only reason that I've ever used ARB was because of Foxify. Uh, Beef Waffle, you said you you said it was painful. What was painful about it? Why was that difficult for you? Yeah, happy. Polygon can be pretty slow. What I found is I just add a zero to whatever gas price is. That's the only way that I'm patient enough for Polygon. Different types. Oh, no, I definitely understand that. So I actually had that problem with Avalanche myself. I sent myself USDC and then it came out as USDC E, and I'm like frustrated, like trying to find out where, $500 went. Like, oh my gosh, where'd it go? And I was looking for the wrong contract. So I finally got in the right contract, transferred things over, bridged it, and then the way that I bridge the right contract comes out to the wrong way. And oh man, see, I love USDC. I love USDC. I just don't understand why they can't have it done the right way. Like, why is it not just all USDC? Um, oh man. So yeah, no, that's definitely not something to be ashamed of at all. My suggestion um with that is to send, like, when you're moving over, especially with bridging to another chain, um, try and bridge a wrapped version of the native asset. So if you are bridging from Binance to Matic, then you would sell, some of your BNB for Binance wrapped Matic, and then bridge that over uh, to Polygon rather than trying to send USDC. That will make things a lot easier for you. I've actually seen it. I've had it happen to me where it's like, oh no, I sent, all of this USDC, but I didn't send any gas. Like, whoops. And that can, so it's definitely easier to only ever send the gas token. I talked to one person. They said they were using a centralized exchange that would only ever send ARB token over to Arbitrum. And I just thought that was the most hilariously annoying thing ever. Just, can you imagine? You can fill it up with all the ARB token, but there's no ETH for you to swap it with. Oh yeah, Vulcan chain. Oh man. I there's an Udemy course that's like 8 hours long where you can build a blockchain with it. So I don't understand, like, why Vulcan isn't a thing yet, because there's people who actually have like Solidity experience that could probably just like take that 8 hour course and, add in their rebasing stuff if they wanted it to be up by now. So I would not say I would not want to be holding Vulcan at this time, or Esco. Um, let's see, Rango or Binance as a bridge. Yeah, see. And honestly, I used to use KuCoin as a bridge. That was my absolute favorite back before us Americans were banned. But I can tell you with confidence, because I literally just did it the day before I got on this call. You can send Arbitrum stuff back and forth with MEXC, and Americans can absolutely use it. We can get ourselves that sweet, sweet 200x leverage to get immediately liquidated with. Synapse is good. Yeah, I've heard of Synapse. Let me. I'd like to pull up here the bridge that we were recommended to use for getting things over to Arbitrum. Um, the one I used to use was, oh, I completely forgot the name of it. The Evo DeFi bridge. I used to use the Evo DeFi bridge a lot. But now it doesn't do AVAX, which makes me very sad. So I have to use MEXC anyways. Let me see, does it do Arboretum? So with Evo DeFi, you have BSC, Polygon, Ethereum, or Tron. So has anyone ever used the Tron network? Yeah, it is. Absolutely hypo. Bridging is bridging is one of the worst parts of DeFi. It's definitely a pain, and I really hope that this chat is at least helping people understand a bit more how chains are actually working and like why bridges are how they are. It's really expensive to start a bridge because you need to create a lot of that liquidity. And then if you are making a wrap token as part of your bridge, then you need to be able to arbitrage it. You need to be able to like have so many different features and ideas and everything, keeping things just right. Plus the millions of security risks. I've heard of like $1 billion bridge hacks. There's definitely a lot that goes into it. Tron. Okay. What do you mean when ETH fees are expensive? ETH fees are always expensive, but how does Tron help with that? So TGF said to use Squid Router. Oh wow. Hey, let me see. Squid Router. Squid is good. All right. So pick um with Squid Router, does it support people moving over a lot of money at once? Is it a very high liquidity bridge, or is it more for us DeFi level people? Put Squid into here. All right. So if you move high liquidity, it takes longer. Okay. So that actually makes a lot of sense. They're able to move some of that liquidity around to support those bigger transactions, and I guess those additional fees make everything worth it. Bridging can be really, really expensive. Let's see. Speaking of using centralized exchange, what is everyone's current centralized exchange that they're using? Are you doing like crypto.com or like actually, KuCoin, Binance, Mexi, something like that? Okay. Oh man. Yeah, if you can do on off ramp with something like Foxify that's, decentralized, actually trustworthy, that's the greatest way to do things. Uh, oh man, you have Binance.us? That's so lucky. It's illegal in Texas. I can't KYC with a Texas ID. It's madness. I I need to go get a passport again and get around that, I guess. Started with crypto.com. Yep. Leaving KuCoin because of the KYC. Man, I ended up moving over to Mexi from KuCoin. I am not very happy with their lack of built-in bots. I think I'm going to spend the rest of today getting my Humming bot set up so I could actually start enjoying my own bots again and doing those grids. Oh, BitGet. How is BitGet? Yeah, I'd have to do Spot, but at least it's better than nothing. Why is that a red flag, though? For those of you who are watching this later, Kick is saying that BitGet and Femex are his current ones. Coinbase for ramps. Mexi doesn't support API for perp futures. Definitely notice that there is no option for a connector or anything. But now I'm curious just why that's a red flag. Ah, yeah. Okay. That absolutely makes sense. Means they only want themselves to be able to market make against users. I will keep an eye on that in the future. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, wow, they're just lazy devs, right? But if they're not lazy devs, then they are probably a little bit more malicious. So will BitGet let us Americans on, or is that only for people in good countries? Mm, yeah, gonna make up for those low trading fees. Apex Pro. Every time someone says Apex, I keep thinking of like MDB's Apex. I'm like, oh wow, your own trading thing. BitGet, yes, no KYC. Okay. All right. And I mean, either way, I use a VPN. So if you would recommend BitGet, I'll probably end up switching over to there. I'll just check and see if Hummingbot lets me actually do that. Yes, BitGet is supported with Hummingbot. So I will definitely switch. I think I'm about to take all the money out of there anyway. So gonna move over somewhere nice. Was pretty cool having the app available on my phone though. Somewhere that actually let Americans, sign in with their real phone number and real location and everything. One place in the world. Let me see if I missed anything where I was talking here. So the next thing I sort of want to talk about a bit of the future prospects of chains. I think that um, do I have a gravity in the works? Oh man. See, since everyone here is cool and everyone who's going to be watching this in the future is cool, I want to say my thoughts for getting the maximum gravity is going to be to spread out and get those project pitches in. If everyone who's watching this, if everyone who is in the MC, stayed on the lookout for other projects to bring in for project pitches, to say, come on in, be friends with our community. If we could get, our community to sort of infiltrate theirs, we could increase our chance of gravity. In the past, we've done quite a bit simply by being everywhere. I remember the last. the last time we did project pitches, it seemed like we got 100% gravity out of them. Um, and I would really, really love to see that 100% stay for the future. So if everyone could actually use that off-topic channel, and I'm not sure if y'all have visited it before, off-topic and the shill projects to actually, talk about other projects, shill other projects. It doesn't matter which chain they're on. It doesn't matter how well they're doing. If y'all could use that to talk about things, bring them to my attention, we can start getting the project pitches. We can start building relationships between our community and theirs, and we can start getting more of those gravities again that have done a lot for MDB, both for our community and for theirs. Oh yeah, I got a frontman to bring back the off-topic and shill channels. If you go to the shill channel, you can actually post links, and you will not get slapped by the bot. If you try to post something dirty, you might get slapped by me, and I will put you in timeout for quite a while because I don't want to get in trouble for bringing back the off-topic and chill projects channel. Oh, there is actually a sexual tension channel. You can still ping Virgil if you like. Me ping Virgil, even though he is now persona non grata in the MC. You can still ping him for the NSFW channel if you like. All right. Seems like we're starting to come down to the end of it. Ready for all the questions we can get in over the next 6 minutes. I miss Virgil too. Dude's pretty cool. If only he didn't hyperdump on us. Could have kept just 1 million MDB out of all those dozens of millions. Oh yeah, we do have a new Virgil at least. Purge the evil whale. Yep. Well, I mean, one of the things I know we talked about LP the last time. I believe that video is already up. We talked about LP the last time, but the way that LP works, it's actually really, really great when whales sail out. Our project does a lot better afterwards. WBTC to BTC. Oh man, I actually used to have to use something like that. It was the only way I could. But before I found out about the whole centralized exchange and bridging and all that, I used to do that with like my mining rewards from NiceHash. So I will see if I can find that in my like multi-year ancient internet history. But I will not make any promises. But that is something to consider as pretty high risk of an activity because you do have to like just send them your wrapped, token or whatever and expect them to like send it from a not smart address. Like it's not like a smart contract where it's absolutely guaranteed that if you do X, Y will happen. Um, it can be it can be a little bit of an issue. So yeah, no, that's um it can be worth looking up. I would check like Reddit reviews or something instead. Yeah. Let's see here. Any anything I missed? Oh, okay. And I think that once Beef Waffle finishes typing, we'll be at the end of our day today. It was definitely nice having such an amazing turnout. I'm really glad to see all these people come in uh, to support these fireside chats. I definitely will have this all recorded and I'll get the video up later. If anyone has any suggestions for what they'd like the next topic to be about, anything that they find interesting or want me to like start doing a bit of research over before the next chat, we should definitely be able to go over them. For things like just the simple how-to bridge, I do want to remind you that we have the link up for how to get money from BSC over to Foxify. That was the first time that I'd ever used that squid router thing. And I managed to do it in a snap. You'll see me using it in just 5 minutes straight. So um, can definitely be an easy experience to get through if you have the right links. If you're not having to like research it and be like, oh no, which one am I actually supposed to use and fight off all the fakes. But yeah. Well, that is it for what I've got with the fireside today. I hope y'all have a great rest of your weekend. And like I said, send me a message or give me a ping anytime you think of some fireside chat ideas.